When it comes to improvising on the guitar, there's one thing that I learned in particular that made me feel like I got much better almost instantly. And it was actually nothing to do with changing the way I played something, but more to do with changing the way I thought about things. The word improvising, what does it mean? It literally means making it up on the spot. And every song that you hear comes from improvising, comes from making it up on the spot. So when a band or an artist writes a piece of music and you listen to it, the piece of music that you're hearing a lot of the time, that's probably not what came out initially when they were improvising. They started out with something, heard sounds that they didn't like, changed sounds around, and eventually it became what it did. Now, the biggest thing that helped me with improvising is psychologically be at one with your mistakes and learn to realize that mistakes aren't really a thing when it comes to improvising because you're making it up on the spot. Now, if you hear a note that you play when you're improvising, and I'll demonstrate this in a minute, and it sounds a bit wrong, if you kind of stay on that note for long enough, you can start making it feel like it sounds right. Or if you resolve the note, so go to a note either one fret before it or one fret after it, it will instantly sound right. Going to that note before or after it as well, when it does sound completely wrong, can create a form of release, or relief I should say. So you've got like this huge suspense when you're on this wrong note, and then when you go to this relief note, it's like, that sounds really nice. And what sounded like a mistake initially when you was on it sounds more like something that was interesting, and you kind of want to hear that note again. So let's demonstrate now. I'm just going to play an A drone note. And over the top of that, I'm just going to improvise with some notes. Now, I'm not particularly going to use any scales or anything. I'm just going to go wherever my fingers land. And we'll hear certain notes that sound eerie. And when I land on them, I'm either going to stay on them and embrace them, or I'm going to resolve them. So there was a particular note there that sounded eerie to me. However, I embraced it and I stayed on it for a bit, and then I released it. And when I stayed on it for a bit, my ear started getting used to it, and it started sounding more interesting to me. And then when I released it, it was like, oh, it led somewhere. And in general, whenever you play a wrong note, it's never truly wrong if you know how to take it to either a release note, or if you know how to embrace it. To get it to sound good over a piece of music where there's more chords being used, it can be more a case of what is the next chord that's coming after whatever you're playing, and does that note work with it? Now that's going into harmony studies, which is there's a bit more into it, but a big thing you can use just to massively improve your improvising, what I'm trying to get at, is psychologically, don't let your mind take over and think that there is a such thing as mistakes when you're improvising, when there's not. Just embrace what you've got going on and own the mistakes. And this is a huge helpful tip. If you do hit a note that you're like, no, that is completely wrong, it's not working, just go one fret to the left of it or one fret to the right of it, and that will be a right note.